What's up, people? It's another week and a new edition of the New Breed Podcast, the world's best new metal podcast by two guys who were really there. I'm one half of your hosting duo, Jay Horsecow. With me, I have my partner in crime, the notorious Tim. Tim, how is it going?
I'm still. I have tears in my eyes from something we were just talking about laughing,
Oh
but
my
yeah, I'm
God,
good.
I'm a little lightheaded from laughing. So, what are we doing this week, folks? Well, this week's we're doing our second episode of the series. We talked about the series where, on the back of new metal's rise and fall, you had other sounds, you had other genres vying for attention, trying to be the next big thing. And out of these genres, there were a couple of labels that really stood out in the late 90s, early 2000s as labels that were really pushing the sound forward, defining what was going to be next big thing in this slow underground culture, the stuff right below the mainstream. Last episode, we talked about Victory Records from Chicago and all the great stuff they did. This week, we're going to talk about another record label for Northern Neighbors to myself from Tinton Falls, New Jersey. This is New Jersey's own Trustkill Records. So, Tim,
Yeah,
same
man.
question. Same question I started off last episode with. What was your first experience with Trustkill Records?
Ooh, I'm pretty sure it was opposite of December.
Same. Same.
Yeah, pretty sure it was opposite December. I remember I bought it in Relapse Records on South Street. It was the hot record at the moment. I remember going there and they were like, "We have one copy left," and I fucking slapped my money on that glass. I said, "Give it to me. I don't give a fuck. I want it right now."
Yep.
They handed it to me. One of the best records ever. I think that is a genre defining record in, I guess you could call it metalcore.
Yeah, I mean that sound is truly what became, to me, that was hardcore, right?
Yeah, I mean, metalcore, hard. Yeah, it's whatever. I don't care what people call it, but that is a genre defining record. I think that's a label defining record for them. I think.
Yes, that is the album that puts Trustkill on the map. So, for those of you who don't know, Trustkill was a small label started by a guy named Josh Cabral out of his college dorm room. I think he was at Rutgers. It was out of Tinton Falls, New Jersey. He was actually having shows in his parents' basement. If you follow Trustkill on Facebook, and I think maybe on Instagram, he posts old flyers. He posts old memories of the shows he used to have in his parents' basement. Legit bands that nowadays fill big venues. Bands like Earth Crisis, Stripes, Snapcase, Hatebreed. They were playing this guy's basement. This
That's
guy's
fucking
basement.
awesome.
I would say he was a contemporary of Tony Victory, but he went in a kind of different direction. And him with Tony Victory and with the record label we're going to talk about third, I think they were really behind, again, driving the culture forward, driving what the underground music scene into new places.
Yeah, I think where Victory is they were putting the contemporary hardcore out that people were loving, but I think with Trustkill, he went a different route, like you said, but he was putting out the contemporary metalcore that you were getting that everybody loves nowadays, or still to this day. And I think this is, I think Victory is one of them important labels, but I think Trustkill for me is, a little step ahead of important tour. I know that's a stupid word, but you guys know what I'm saying. So.
Gotcha. We got you. It's a little bit ahead of the importance scale. Yep.
Yeah. I just like to say stupid words because they make sense to me. So,
So Trustkill Meta, I guess what you could call it, Inglorious End. I think they were sold to it was sold
Fontana,
somewhere to Fontana Distribution, but which was under Universal. Then there was another deal for distribution through Think Fast Records globally.
SPV,
A bunch of distribution deals, but I think it all kind of fell apart. Let's see. Does he say when it fell apart?
around 2010ish, I think.
Yeah, I think
2009ish.
so. Yeah, 2010 he leaves, and he talked about how the business went in a downward spiral. There were Great Recession hit. He stopped getting money from his support, so he couldn't pay his bands. Everything was kind of just a disaster at that point. But up until that point, I mean, they were all doing well. But let's talk about, there was a constant as well. Tony Victory sold off some of his catalog. Trustkill sells off some of their catalog. I know Josh, I think, is still working on clearing rights, because every once in a while on the Facebook page you'll see something like, "Hey, this album just added to Spotify." So he's slowly but surely getting his stuff back into streaming, which is kind of cool. But yeah, for a hot minute there, this was the label. This was the
Oh
label.
yeah. This was the fucking label. You're 100% correct.
So
So many good releases.
so let's talk about, he's releasing stuff from his dorm room. One of the first releases is, well, he did stuff in 94.
Didn't he start out as a fanzine?
Yeah, he was him and Carl Severson from Ferret, and I think Mike Oleander from Endeavor, and what is that? Burnt by the Sun. They were all friends. So
Okay.
he was just churning stuff out. One of the first, so I'm looking at their discography. One of the first things that sticks out to me is Despair, which is Vogel's first band. They did stuff in 96. You had the Incision single by Harvest in 96.
Hold on, Jay. I found something. In 2013 interview with Soundcrave magazine, Grabel further explained the situation regarding Trustkill's demise. He said, I had to walk away from Trustkill. I got into a distribution deal that when I signed, it made sense to everyone involved back in 2007. Fast forward a few years later, there was a whole new regime at the distribution company that didn't necessarily like my deal. The business was kind of in a downward spiral, and we got hit with a pretty bad recession all at once, which is true.
Right. Everything. We forget how things went upside down at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, when gas was $5 a gallon. They wouldn't let me out of my deal. They stopped paying me. I couldn't sign bands. I couldn't pay bands. I just couldn't do anything, so I had to walk away and start clean. I kind of held on to this hope that they would renegotiate or allow me to make some moves and continue on Trustkill, but it didn't work out that way. I just fought for like a year and a half, and they were just not budging. So he pretty much got thrown out. So I guess, because, with the other label we talked about, people really hate it, the band or this label for shit. And the cool thing about this episode is when we get to it, we actually have excerpts from bands that say why they didn't like them. So we'll talk about that and stuff.
Yeah.
But people listening, don't think that we're talking shit. We're just reading off what it's been.
Yeah, we're
said.
rehashing what has been committed to history. We don't have any particular feeling about either positive or negatively. It's just stories that have been part of the narrative. And
we would talk in a second.
If Tony Victory wants to come on, or Josh Grabel wants to come on, or anybody else from these labels wants to come on and chat, we would be more than happy to do so. I mean, it won't be a bash session for 2 hours, but we'd love to hear the other side of the story.
Definitely.
So we've talked about, so that he starts releases. There's Despair. There is, which is again Vogel's first band. There is Harvest, Brothers Keeper, right? Mike Ski and Brothers Keeper from Drury Erie.
Good dudes.
Cast Iron Hike. You know what, Brothers Keeper, let's pause on there for a second. The vocals were what always threw me off.
Yeah,
they were a hard touring band. Yeah, he's a tattoo artist in Philly now, I think. Hard touring bands. They were on every show, just didn't. They didn't work for me.
Yeah.
We have Endeavor again. Michael Leander from Burnt by the Sun. This is Constructive Semantics. Comes out in 97. Harvest, One Step Closer Than the Last, which is an EP.
Another band that nobody talks about that is so fucking good.
Bad sound if this is hardcore though.
They did sound bad but they so many
that was the venue.
Songs.
That was the venue. What else do we have here? Oh, okay, so here we go. You have this is their big release, I think, which puts them on the map. This is The Opposite of December in 99.
Yeah, that record is pretty much sonically perfect. It sounds amazing.
Yes.
Every song's good. I mean, if you like that band and you don't know every lyric to that fucking record, I mean, something's wrong with you. I mean, that's a record that I could just put on and sing word for word.
Yes. 100%. Turmoil, The Process Of, was that Trustkill?
Dude. Yeah.
That was Trustkill, right?
Dude, that record is so fucking good. Holy fuck, that record.
That band is so heavy. And aside from those in the Delaware Valley, they have been completely forgotten. But man, they were a heavy, heavy band.
Yeah, I mean, that is another perfect record. I mean, Philly, that put Philly on the fucking map, dude. I think.
Yeah, I think so.
In my opinion.
I think so. We've also got right after that. So this is where Trustkill picks up speed. You've got Poison Ball, you've got Turmoil, you've got Race Trader, Burn It Down.
Oh, yeah.
You've got Brothers Keeper again. You've got Nora, the Never Ending You line. We have the Disembodied Brothers Keeper split.
Which
right. So here's Disembodied showing up. You have The Bound Feed the Gag by Walls of Jericho.
I fucking love that record.
And then you have, okay, so we have The Opposite of December, A Season of Separation. It was Trustkill 27. On the back of that, you have Trustkill 29, Until the Ink Runs Out by 18 Visions.
Another amazing record.
Then we have this is something. There was a Shai Hulud, Another Victim split. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
A Whole New Level of Sickness. Yep, that was 2000. So now we've tipped over. Nu Metal is crested. But Trustkill, just like we talked about Victory, they're putting out banger after banger after banger. So we have the Hellfest documentary, right? Comes out. Brothers Keeper, Fantasy Killer.
Great record.
Sparklights, The Friction. Do you remember them? They were I think they were a foreign band. They did L'Homme Robotique. I know I definitely fucking butchered that one.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
We should pull that out. It's not bad. It's not bad. Loser's Intuition by Nora. The Best Of by 18 Visions. Nothing in Vain by Most Precious Blood.
Great.
Right? This is all 2001. So they're hammering away. And then we have the big release. We have Tear from the Red in 2002. And I remember this album coming out and being like, holy shit.
Great record. I hate the fucking recording.
It's we talked about this. You take umbrage with the mix, right?
It's too flat. You can't hear the kick. But let me tell you, man, them songs are legendary.
Yes.
That band, man, them first two records. You know what? Even Poison the Well's first EP is one of my favorite EPs ever. I know people fucking shit on.
No, it's actually really good.
I fucking love that EP.
What was the name of that?
Fuck.
Oh, it was. Wait a minute. It's a long name.
Yeah, that second song.
Oh, Distance. Distance only makes the heart grow fonder.
Yeah, that second song where it's like, yeah, I do. Amazing stuff. I don't even think Jeffrey sang on that record.
No, he was. I think he was a guitarist on that first album.
I think so.
I think, which is a Florida thing because you also had Mean Pete, rest in peace, Mean Pete. He started out as the guitarist of Remember Never.
Yeah. Do you remember? Dude, I just had the name. I just had the band name on my fucking tip of my tongue. The Florida band. If you know them, man, I'd be very surprised.
Morning Again.
No, it begins with a W. It'll come to me. They weren't on. I don't think they were on Trustkill, but they were in. They were in that South Florida thing with.
Is it When Fear and Weapons Meet?
No. This was like a metalcore, like experimental band. I'll think of it as we go.
Don't think about it, and it'll come to you. As soon as you stop thinking about it, it comes to you. So on the back of Tear from the Red, you have the Hopesfall EP, No Wings to Speak of, and then the full length, The Satellite Years. Great albums.
Dude, that band, man, they could do no wrong in my book.
I love that EP. I remember hearing that going, Jesus, that's something else. Vanity, 18 Visions. That's 2002.
Amazing record.
And so that finishes out 2002 for them. So now we're going into 2003, and this is where I think they really start. This is where Trustkill starts hitting maximum velocity. We've got the first release of 2003, This Is Love, This Is Murderous by Bleeding Through.
Yeah, huge record.
You've got Throwdown's Haymaker.
Haymaker's not a bad record, but I don't even want to say it because then I'm going to sound like a hater and I'm talking shit.
No, this was the first Dave Peters album. It was a good album, but after this, they sounded more like Pantera, and it just wasn't resonant. Yeah. But we've got Bleeding Through, then we've got Throwdown, then we've got Our Lady of Annihilation, which is the first Most Precious Blood album with Fusco from what was the band? His first band, One King Down.
One King Down.
We've got Nora, Dreamers and Dead Men. No matter what you think about Nora, I mean, they're in the mix. And you've got You Come Before You by Poison the Well. So this is back to back to back to back to back.
Baggers, yeah.
Yep.
You Come Before You is one of them records that didn't really get me at first. Because I kind of wanted what they were doing before, and they kind of went more on the experimental route. But that's a good record, man.
You Come Before You, yeah, that's another one where I didn't like it when I first heard it, but I go back and listen to that, I think just as much, if not more, than some of the others, because they really matured as songwriters. So I'm sorry, I had my sequencing wrong. From its TK 43 was Haymaker by Throwdown, 44 is Nora, Dreamers and Dead Men, 45 is Poison the Well, 47 is Bleeding Through, 48 is Most Precious Blood. My God, look at that lineup.
That's a ridiculous lineup. I mean,
Uh,
that right there just shows you the power from that label.
And then at this point, we get into distribution deals, because then things start showing up not under the Trustkill banner. So you have things like Obsession by 18 Visions. We
Which
have
was all that was Universal as well.
I think so. Epic.
Epic, yeah.
I could tell by the catalog name. Then we have It Dies Today.
I don't care what anyone says. I love that band.
Not a fan. Then we have Terror, One with the Underdogs.
That was a huge record.
Which was people don't realize how big when it was. So let's digress for a second, Tim. Talking about hardcore and bands that were huge off of an EP. Terror is up there in a league of their own. I think the only band that comes close to the noise that Terror got around their original EP is VOD, and that's Still EP. When they talk about, they played PWAC and it was like 1,500 people for an EP release. Like, kids, if you're listening or you're the younger persuasion, you got to put that in context. Most mid-sized concert venues today hold about 1,000 people. This was a band with no full-length release on an EP, and they had something like, I think it was 1,500 people at PWAC.
Crazy.
Okay, so then we end up with
probably moshing their fucking heads off.
Oh, losing their minds. The picture on the back of the EP is the live shot, which it looks like a fucking prison riot. Then we have A-Types by Hope's Fall.
Amazing fucking
But
record.
that's RR is the tag number. Maybe that's a Roadrunner distributed. I don't know.
I don't know. Might be, but that's a fucking amazing record.
Then we have Walls of Jericho, All Hail the Dead. One of my favorite albums by them.
Yeah, me too. I mean, the first record is a banger, but yeah, they just got better and better as they went.
Yes. We have a whole bunch of comps here and there. The New England Metal Festival, Blood, Sweat in the First 10 Years. Roses Are Red. Do you remember that, Tim?
Yeah.
Okay. Day and Conversations came out in 2004. We have It Dies Today. We have Terror. We've covered that. I covered that. And then we come up into 2005. And to me, this is where honestly, the wheels start to come off. So Vendetta by Throwdown.
Can't do it.
Merciless by Most Precious Blood.
That's not bad.
Bedlight for Blue Eyes.
I remember the name, but I don't remember what
that was actually distributed by, I think, SPV. And then we get, so this is where they start getting weird. Bullet for My Valentine. Fight Paris. Those are Bleeding Through in here. Wolves Among Sheep, but that was a DVD.
Oh, I got the band.
Go on.
What Wishes Can't Mend.
I have heard that. I have heard of them. I have never heard them.
I think you'll really like that shit.
I will check that out. But I'm looking here. There's a whole shit ton of comps. California from First Blood comes out in 2006. Another band where their EP was a fucking monster, and this album was great.
Yeah,
big fan.
That's a fucking heavy record.
Carl, if you're listening, please come on the show, dude. We want to talk. All the way over from wherever he is in Europe. We've got Always the Hard Way by Terror. We got The Truth by Bleeding Through. This is 2006. So now nu metal is dead. The new wave of American heavy metal is actually starting to peter out. This is in one of those weird interstitial years where we don't know what's going to be the next big thing. Roses Are Red, Walls of Jericho, with Devils Amongst Us.
Great record.
And I think, Tim, we're coming up on the end here. I mean, Bullet for My Valentine. This Is Hell, Sundowning.
Yeah, not bad.
A lot of people were fans of that. From Hell by Walls of Jericho. Sirens by It Dies Today. Crash Romeo shows up. This was bad.
Yeah, that's not good.
But again, we talked about this with Victory. This is when the labels start kind of, hey, we're gonna go in a new direction, try and sign some new stuff. Venom and Tears by Throwdown. Memphis Mayfire.
Yeah,
Not my thing.
not at all.
There's a whole bunch of reissues. Too Pure to Die. I
Ugh.
love that first album. This one was terrible. Confidence and Consequence, not a good sound.
Dude, do you
Um,
remember that band Idle Hands with the chick singer?
yes, they were. I skipped them because I don't even want to acknowledge it. Yeah,
Dude, that's actually a cool record.
and no thanks. A bunch of This Is Hell, Bleeding Through.
Open Hand, you're forgetting.
Yeah, yeah, I skipped over that too. I was like, no thanks. So I'm gonna cut us off here at 2007, Tim. So because I keep scrolling forward and it's the same handful of bands doing stuff, and then it just stops. It's all a bunch of reissues, and yeah, it just stops.
Yeah, I mean, but the bands that you didn't mention, like that Open Hand record, is really good. If you're into that stuff, they kind of that first record. It's like hard to throw in what genre it is because it's like all over the place. But I just remember that coming out. I think it was called You and Me, maybe. And I remember hearing that, and the first half of that record is a fucking masterpiece, dude. It's just I don't know how to explain it.
What does it sound like?
It's like it's like barely any screaming. It's like rock influenced, but like, dude, it is so fucking good. What's the first record called? Can you find it on there?
Yeah, what is it? What's the Open Hand?
Yeah.
We got it.
I'm like, I remember hearing it and I was just like, whoa, dude. Like, cause back then, back then with Trustkill, you're thinking of 18 Visions and all that stuff. Until their ink runs out is like, that's a fucking huge record in my life because that thing was just way ahead of its fucking time, dude.
Open Hand, it was The Dream in
The
2002.
Dream, yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
That's a fucking amazing record, man. I don't care what anyone
What
says.
is it, indie rock?
Yeah, but it's not. It's a little heavier. It's hard to explain. You have to listen to it, man. You might actually dig it. To tell you the truth.
Okay. All right, I'll
But
check
yeah,
it out.
put that on, man, because tomorrow or something I'll remind you. But put that on. I know it's on streaming, so it's hard to explain. It's a fucking fantastic record, man.
I will check it out.
Dude, another record, that First Blood record. Woo, what a monster that was.
Next time I see you, you're fucking dead. I love it.
I seen them with Walls of Jericho at the Voltage Lounge one night.
Were you at that show?
Yeah, that kick drum was ridiculous. That night. You remember that?
Yes, it was Voltage. It was Walls of Jericho,
First
First
Blood.
Blood, Left Behind, and Sanction.
Was it Left Behind?
Yes, it was Left Behind and Sanction.
Oh yeah, and Sanction pretty much had like 3 people watching them.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That was fucking annoying.
I love First Blood. I mean, I used to back in the day. I used to email with Carl, because I used to swap emails with him, and I would order merch. Dude still owes me a hoodie from like 2004. We should do an episode of bands that have ripped you off for merch. We could do an entire episode on that because I've got a laundry list of shit I've never gotten.
Oh, one of my favorite bands ever has done that, and I just go like it never happened.
I've forgiven, but I haven't forgotten. But yeah, that EP was unbelievably aggressive. Like I listened to that all the time. And then that first LP was good. And you know what? I will say this. He's consistently put out good albums going forward. I mean, after what was after wait a minute. It was after
back to
California
back to that Walls Jericho show while you're looking. I remember when Walls went on, there was like 10 people there.
Yeah, it was sad.
Crazy, dude. And they sounded amazing that night. Candace is a fucking nut, dude.
She's
yeah,
a monster. I wouldn't want to piss that woman off. But yeah, I was gone by that point.
I remember Jimmy interviewed her and it was great.
So he did California in 2006. First Blood's next album was Silence's Betrayal in 2010.
Yeah.
And then he did Rules in 2017. And that was awesome. Yeah, I mean, I like that I'm not going to say smart tough guy, but it's well done tough guy. It's beatdown music. What the fuck? It's not easy to do well, but he does it well. So yeah.
Oh, a band that should have been signed to Trustkill, Sworn Vengeance.
Yeah.
I don't know why that band, dude. I forget forget what the record's called. Something Annihilation. That record is so hard. Have you ever heard that record?
Yes, yes.
Dude, some of the hardest mosh I've ever heard in my entire life.
Well, when you think of what came out of Victory, what came out of Trustkill, and we might as well spoil it now. The third label we're going to talk about in this series is Ferret,
Yeah.
right? I always got Trustkill and Ferret confused, and I actually thought they were in almost an arms race of who could do the next big thing. And when you look at the bands that came out of that bubble, right? Because on one side you have 18 Visions and Poison the Well, and on the other side you have the Ferret side, which is Zayo, and which is Every Time I Die, and they were like they were bands that were over. It was like an arms race between the two of them. See who could sign what. God, 12 Tribes, or I mean, Misery Signals,
yeah.
right? 36 Crazy Fists, like every. They were. I got those labels confused. They were kind of like almost the same thing to me. But yeah,
it's funny that you say that because now that I think about it, you're fucking right. Like them two labels they were like, it's like holy shit, this band, like whoa, dude, like you would skip back and forth to like oh my god, like that record's great, this record's great, yeah. You're right about that, man.
I have an OG Misery Signals Ferret Records T-shirt with the revolver on the back. That I bought at Hellfest because I got soaked standing outside and I needed a different T-shirt to wear. I still got it. And I have an OG Scars of Tomorrow. Now that I think about it, I have a camouflage Scars of Tomorrow ringer upstairs somewhere. Yeah.
I used to have the Every Time I Die shirt with the ferret gun on the back. And it was the red and black one. It said Last Night in Town or something on it. I love that shirt. Someone stole the fucking shirt.
It's like I have a Every Time I Die raglan upstairs, white and blue with a roller skate on it. It says Ebola Rama, Buffalo, New York. It doesn't fit, but I'm never getting rid of it. It's like my Earth Crisis hoodie. I've got the OG Straight Edge, the Discipline hoodie. I'll be buried in that fucking thing.
I'll do that.
So let's talk about Trustkill, right? So they had a very, very quick rise. It was an arms race with them and Ferret. And then Josh signs a distro deal, and then everything kind of just goes its own way. He spins up Bullet Tooth, I think, which was his next label.
Yeah.
And they had some success, but it was just.
Can we get some Bullet Tooth bands? Let's talk about that since we're talking about this. So.
Yeah, let me pull it up.
Then we're gonna get into the controversies.
Yeah, well, I don't want to spend too much time on that though, because it's kind of negative. Where is it? Bullet. Oh, that doesn't come up at all.
It doesn't come up?
Not on Wikipedia. So Bullet Tooth. All right, here we go. So Bullet Tooth's releases. They start out with Bleeding Through the Truth in 2008.
Oh, okay.
Kid Liberty, First Blood, Silence's Betrayal, Deception of a Ghost. I have no idea what that is. I've never even heard of that before. Memphis Mayfire, Most Precious Blood, Do Not Resuscitate, I Omega, Dead Icons, Throw the Fight. Do you recognize any of this stuff, Tim?
Some of it, yeah. Indecision wasn't on Trustkill.
No, Indecision was on. I thought they were on some New York label.
Or no, they were on fuck. Remember Release the Cure?
No.
You don't remember that record?
No.
Wow.
No, I was never a big Indecision fan. I found them. I found Most Precious Blood with Nothing in Vain and loved them. But I was never a big Indecision fan. So they were on. They released stuff through Too Damn Hype, through Back to Basics, Exit 4. Yeah.
I'm putting that in my thing right now. Release the Cure. That's a great record. Yeah, but Bullet Tooth, I recognize some of the bands, but not many of them. But like Memphis Mayfire, like they were one of them bands that everybody loved, and I'm like, oh god.
Do you remember? Do you remember Sons of Abraham? Bouncing around here.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had this album, and they went on to be Glassjaw. Yep.
Oh yeah, that's right. Indecision looks like they were on Indecision Records.
Yes.
I thought that, but then I was like, I don't want to say that and then sound like an asshole. That's
But yeah, I
another
mean,
great fucking label.
yeah, Trustkill was one of those. They were one of those labels where them and Ferret were neck and neck. They were churning out stuff, and for a good, I'd say, Tim, a good 5 years, they were the labels that everybody was talking about. And remember, this is the early 2000s, so this is the rise of message board culture, right? You have the Bridge 9 board, which was really more for like Bridge 9 Revelation, but you had Lambgoat, which was all over the stuff. I was an active Lambgoat poster at this time. They were blowing up all sorts of shit from Ferret, from Trustkill, anything they could find.
Were you
So
shit? You were shit posting on there.
yes, I was absolutely a shit poster. Um, we could do a whole
You probably
episode.
still are.
I always forget my password, so I can't do it. So I just post anonymous like all the other assholes. But yeah, that was a big thing. And the Lamb culture drove a lot of those bands because the band would put out something and there would be threads with, geez, 300-400 replies on them, and it
Oh
was
my
kind of
god, yeah.
wild.
And most of and 300 of them were fucking horrible.
Well, here's the thing: the news is what gets the mutants. If you go on Lambgoat, the news page, the front page, that's where all the assholes come out and they post anonymously. The message board, there was no anonymous posting. You had to have a screen name, and there was like SLK and there were some other people where, oh my God, how did these people? They were posting insane numbers. Like you had to be doing nothing at work but just posting all day. But I mean, it was a pretty wild time, and then Facebook ruined it because Facebook tried to bring all your little interests into one big place and kind of killed it. But yeah, so any of our new metal fans, check out the early Trustkill stuff. Check out anything from Poison the Well. Check out anything from Most Precious Blood. A lot of the bands Tim and I just geeked out about. I mean, Throwdown, Bleeding Through, and 18 Visions all shared members at one point. So check some of that stuff out. There's so much cool shit from those years that is actually still relevant today, and you can hear the echoes.
Oh yeah. I mean, until the ink runs out, I want to go back into that one. How much ahead of its time is that record?
Very, very much so.
I mean, you go from Lifeless, which was on what label? Lifeless was on shit, dude. I can't remember. I still have the fucking disc of that. I forget what label it was on, but like they put out Lifeless. That's like that straight up, metalcore stuff that came out of like it that sounded like a Salt Lake band at the time.
Yes.
You remember when Salt Lake was putting out all them bands like Aftermath of a Train
Wreck, Cherum,
Cherum,
right?
fucking so many. I can't remember the bands that so many bands that were
Was
just.
it Armed for Battle from Salt
I
Lake?
think so, but dude, so that's time. Salt Lake had a scene, dude, back then that was like very Milton straight edge and very
Yep.
the one guys were like burnt down at McDonald's. They burnt down like a chicken coop thing, like a chicken processing plant, like crazy fucks, dude. Like, yeah, crazy shit. But that Lifeless record just sounds like that. There's a band from Salt Lake, Lifeless.
Yeah. No, Armed for Battle was from Reno.
Okay, well, pretty much the same scene if you think about it.
Yeah, but was Loyal to the Grave. That was Japan, right? Tokyo,
Yeah.
yes. All we could do an entire episode on that whole straight edge scene, like where that was a thing. Like that was a legit thing.
Look up this Salt Lake thing real quick because there's a reason I'm talking about this. If you look up like Salt Lake City hardcore like in the late 90s, you could probably there's so many good bands, dude.
SLC hardcore.
Like there's bands that are so unbelievably heavy.
I'm looking now.
I was just gonna say Torn Apart, they were Ferret though.
Lazarus Project, Trip Hammer.
Lazarus Project. That record is fucking incredible.
Lifeless, Clear,
Lifeless, yeah, Clear,
Clear, Clear, Lifeless, Trip Hammer,
Trip Hammer,
Decontaminate, the Lazarus Project.
Have you ever heard that Decontaminate?
No.
EP? Holy shit, dude. Dude, I guarantee you, I could send you if you go on SoulSeek and Adam's on,
there.
You could probably find all the stuff from there. Yo, that Decontaminate, holy fuck, dude. Some evil shit, dude.
Pushing Up Daisies, Parallax, okay. Aftermath of a Train Wreck, Cherim, we already talked about. We Are the Revolution. I've got a physical copy of that floating around somewhere. X Reflect X,
If there's
X
one
Delegate X,
if there's
Tamar
one
Lane.
thing if there's one thing you do tomorrow is check out that Decontaminate and that Lazarus Project stuff. That stuff is so good.
Okay.
That's a fucking great scene right there. But
But
anyway, what I'm saying is that Lifeless stuff from 18 Visions had kind of that sound.
yeah,
But
it does.
when they put out Until the Ink Runs Out, that blew my mind, man. Like
That was
it's hard to
yeah.
explain what that even sounds like, but like the song titles were crazy, the guitar work was crazy. And then from them going from that to Vanity, which wasn't that big of a step, but Obsession and then the self-titled, crazy progression. But I love that band, man.
Yeah. I mean, they were I think you said it best when you said they were ahead of their time.
Yeah.
I think you would put them in the same vein as even like I am convinced that VOD was too far ahead of their time, and that's why it's not that it didn't work. I think they were too far ahead. Ugh, what am I doing here?
What was that first record on? What label?
Which one?
The first VOD.
That was on Element, which was the Ray Capo Vanity label inside of Roadrunner.
Oh, okay.
It was
The
Element,
fucking
right?
Teardrop
Super
one,
Soul.
right?
Super Soul
Okay.
was the name of the label. Yeah.
And then I could have didn't they go to who did they go to after that?
They did TVT,
That's right, TVT. That's
which
what
was a disaster.
yeah, another but another prominent label.
Yes.
I mean, that's one you could talk about too, with all the fucking industrial and
Yeah. Oh my god, we could do We could do like we should probably call Detox and have him come on to do a TVT Wax Tracks deep dive, because
I
all
would love that.
that stuff is all in that same vein. But yeah, I mean, VOD was 2 albums for Roadrunner, and then it was the disaster in TVT, and then they've done everything else. I think since has either been super majors on a Vanity imprint or kind of self-release. The last album that they did was Raised to the Ground, which is still really good.
Yeah, it is, man.
All right, so let's wrap this bad boy up. So check out some old Trustkill stuff. Again, this is the second episode in a series. The last episode we're going to be doing, we've already talked about, we've spoiled it. It's going to be Ferret Records, another New Jersey band, New Jersey label, I should say, friends with Trustkill. So go in and deep dive. God, if you like nu metal, just listen to The Opposite of December. And if you, I don't know how you could not. It's not nu metal, but I don't know how you could not enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree. Not
All right.
nu metal, but yeah, it's heavy as fuck. It's got the melody, it's got all that shit. So,
Yep. All right. So until next time, it's the New Breed Podcast saying cheers.
Later.